Welcome to the La Liga Dynasty Podcast, coming to you live from Miami Beach. I am your host, the Waddle, baby, the Waddle. My Dolphins pulling out a huge win this weekend. What a game, and what a game to be in, everybody. I mean, that was so much fun, incredible experience in person. And wow, I went to that stadium probably like 6-7 years ago, and it wasn't quite the home court advantage I thought one should have. But this time around, with some of the remodeling that they've done, the fact that our own players are in the shade and the opponents are in the sun 24/7 is insane. Like I felt it. It was extraordinary. But yeah, wow, what a win. Couple of weird sets of games at a macro level in the NFL. I feel like it was kind of a strange week. I mean, the players you thought would score didn't score. You had a lot of randos scoring here and there. Just wasn't your usual characters. We also saw the upset, the Colts over the Chiefs. Overall, a lot of low scoring games. I mean, the Packers Bucks was 24-12. You've got, the 49ers and the Broncos 11-10. Yeah, just overall, I feel like it was a bit of a macro low week. You had the Saints losing to the Panthers 22-14. And then you look at those stats and there's no offense on that squad. It was just weird games. Let's see. Let's move over to our own fantasy week 3 recap here. Let's see. Get my notes here. Okay. So week 3 awards. I mean, we've got good hands with Alsop with the highest point scores. Good for Alsop. He's been trying to pull it together. Hadn't been putting it together the last couple of weeks. Was kind of not looking so bright. Pulled out a big win. Had the highest deficit in scores as well. 51.2 points differential between him and T-Flex. I believe that's the highest differential yet all season. So kudos to good hands with Alsop putting something together here. At the bottom of the pile, Gin and Juice at 64 points. I had to take a look at this. It's only been 3 weeks, but that is in fact the lowest score so far this season. And again, at the macro level, I think it kind of shows with the scoreboard this week because 63 points. He played against Nuki Monsters, who had 89 points. So overall, that was the lowest scoring matchup. 89 points is right there at the bottom with some of the lowest scoring this week as well. So Nuki was the one. He got the lucky break this week. I mean, he would have lost to 9 other teams. And yeah, there's other low scores going around like Quack Quack. Biz Richie taking care of business against Quack Quack, 116-76. Prime Time took care of business. I think he had one of the most accurate lineups. Actually, good hands with Alsop had the most accurate lineup. Getting 95%. But yeah, good stuff by Prime Time, getting 120 over against me and 97 points. Tebow's before hose. Wow. This continues to be the storyline. Ken Dog 0-3. It's truly remarkable. I mean, it's week after week that he just happens to play the team that scores higher than him. Truly incredible. I mean, Tebow's before hose looked like he was throwing down the towel. I would have for sure if this was a survival and I had to lock in the winner, I would have definitely picked Ken Dog in this one. And yeah, 128-113, crazy unfortunate. Already talked about good hands with Alsop, 145, T-Flex, 94 points. We've got, and then finally, Handy Nasty. This was kind of the game day. This was the matchup of the week. Handy Nasty and Team Ramrod. And Handy Nasty pulled out the win, 129 to 104. Really quick, I wanted to go through, meant to do this earlier. If we go take a look through matchup to matchup, I mean, if we go, let's go to Handy Nasty since we were just talking about that one. I mean, overall, you put the starters that you want to start. I mean, this lineup's all pretty clean. Just, overall, Jalen Hurts put up some good points for Team Ramrod versus Carson Wentz, who had only 9 points. So it's incredible to be making up that deficit. And overall, it's just the consistency of the lineup that Handy Nasty put up. I mean, he's got several players over double digits, and that cannot be said for Team Ramrod. George Kittle let him down. Justin Jefferson had just no show this week, and that's bizarre. But yeah, that's 2 weeks in a row for Justin Jefferson now. If we move over to other, kind of, starts and sits, I mean, overall, when you look at these matchups, it's just the bench just tends to outscore some of the starting lineups a lot. But it's players you don't expect to start. For example, Nookie Monster, I mean, you had Khalil Herbert in the bench, but there's no shot of you starting him last week. Mike Evans, this was something I wanted to highlight. Come on, Nookie. You can't be starting goose eggs. You knew Mike Evans was suspended. What are you doing? Like, what's going on? We got to hear something. What's the story with this lineup? This also made me write down some notes. There definitely needs to be a punishment for putting a goose egg in your lineup. I'm open to ideas. One thought I had was to do, I don't know if you guys listen to the Fantasy Footballers podcast, but they've got an app called the Wheel of Water, and it's just a way to kind of do an embarrassing kind of punishment. And so I think anytime someone drops a goose egg, or maybe anytime someone drops below, I don't know, 70 points, I mean, we got to think of something that they should spin the Wheel of Water. And they must perform the Wheel of Water punishment before conducting any kind of taxi squad, IR move, or trade. I think that could be easily achieved, and I think it can be enforced pretty easily. If you guys are down, let's get that voted on. But yeah, goose eggs. We cannot see any of those. And dude, oh my God, I just noticed he has 2 of them. Kenny Galladay as well. Holy crap, that's bizarre. That's not his fault, but he's still gotta be punished. Let's see some other start sits options that happened this week. I gotta say, Tebow before Hose did maximize quite the lineup. I mean, starting Devin Singletary, getting 20 points, that's incredible. Isaiah McKenzie is on his bench, and you keep starting Allen Robinson. I got to question that one, man. It's like, it seems like you're only starting him because of the price tag, but I don't know if that guy really deserves to be on anyone's lineups nowadays. It's just the target share is just not there. He might be running the routes, but I just, man, this dude's just a no-show so far. And I'm speaking from experience. I was rooting for him. I bought him in preseason thinking, that I was gonna get him before he got too hot, but it has not panned out. Ken Dogs, I mean, the lineup looks clean. There's not much you can do there. I mean, Zay Jones went off on his bench, but that's just the guy you can't really imagine starting over Stephon Diggs, Curtis Samuel, Jalen Waddle. I mean, this is just crazy unfortunate, really, man. It's bizarre. We look over to my lineup against prime time. Yeah, James Conner just hasn't been performing for me. David Montgomery really let me down. This is in multiple leagues too, not just this one, but sadly he went down early, only with 1 point, and then we had Khalil Herbert's huge game. But my bench has got a lot of handcuffs, and hey, they're available for anybody that needs them. But Alexander Madison, Jamal Williams, looking pretty nice right now. So I'm looking for a bounce back there. On Primetime's side, you know, Tua didn't quite put up the numbers on the fantasy side. Devin Duvernay put up some points on his bench, nothing crazy, but yeah, overall, I mean, you know, Primetime did a great job putting up his lineup there. Nothing questionable. Oh yeah, I'm glad I'm ending on this one. Quack, my man. We've got Josh Jacobs on your bench. Josh Jacobs, Michael Carter. What are we thinking there? We've got such a multi-head committee going on in the New York Jets, and I just don't understand how you could sit Josh Jacobs right now. It's just steady Eddie. He might not be hot flash or anything, but man, that, you know, not that it would have made the difference per se, but yeah, Josh Jacobs over Michael Carter, didn't like that. And then, you know, I have to say, yikes, we're really going to rely on not just one Carolina receiver and Baker Mayfield, but we're going to rely on 2 wide receivers for the Carolina Panthers against the New Orleans Saints. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, coming up for a total of 4 points, not even 3.9 points. And yeah, that one's gotta hurt. All right, better days for Quack, better days. We look on over the power rankings. I like to do a little comparison of the power rankings versus what the actual rankings are at the standings right now. But you know, as we know, everyone can see what the standings are. We got Handy Nasty at 1, Prime Time at 2. Those are the 2 undefeated teams. So kudos to those guys. Team Ramrod, Biz Richie, Gin Juice, Snooki Monsters are following with 2-1 records. And then there's a series of 1 and 2 records. Good Hands with Alsop definitely has a lot of points. Tebow's Before Hose 1 and 2, myself 1 and 2, Quack 1 and 2, and then again the storyline of the season so far, Ken Dog at 0 and 3, with I believe the second most points. Yeah, second most points. Just barely, you know, trailing Handy Nasty by 40 points. So Handy Nasty 3-0, most points, looking formidable there, and T Flex making out at the end 0 and 3. If we look over to the power rankings, you know, I'm looking at the projected kind of power rankings going on here. Handy Nasty is at the top. Primetime still follows. Those guys haven't really moved since last week's power rankings. Team Ramrod as well. You know, so those 1 and 2 and 3 are kind of matching at current standings, and this is where things start to shape up a little. Gin and Juice is looking to be right currently at number 4. He actually moved up a spot, even though he lost this week. That one's kind of interesting. I don't know what the algorithm's thinking per se, but he moved up a spot. Biz Richie moved down a spot. Must be something to do with the rosters that may be worth looking into. Myself, I'm then on number 6. I don't know how this one's going on. I think it's maybe because I got Jamal Williams and Alexander Madison on the squad, and there's some projections there that are going my way, but I've moved up 3 spots, even though I'm 1 and 2. At number 6, Snooki Monster has moved down 1 spot at number 7. Quack at number 8. He's moved up 2 spots. Good Hands with Alsop, although he just put up the highest score this week, he has moved down 2 spots. And got Ken Dog here at number 10. If we look at some other, you know, I'm kind of messing around with some other tools, you know, in some cases, Ken Dog is still up in the top 4, which is just amazing to see, all things considering. But I mean, yeah, the guy's got the squad. He's definitely has a lot of big names, but that's kind of been the problem this year so far. The big names haven't really lived up to the hype. And then rounding out the end, Tebow's Before Hose at 11 and T-Flex at 12. Unless we see some major changes, I don't know, T-Flex, you might be taking the Sacco this year. Shall see. Let's see. We move on over to matchups this week. I'm gonna just kind of quickly review the matchups, and then I'm gonna give my upset for the week. Someone suggested that. I think it was Prime Time or someone else about the upsets of the week. Kind of like that. So if we look over to where's the schedule? Week 4. All right. Week 4. Dun, dun, dun. Got Quack and myself. I'm just trying to pull up some of the projected points going on here. That's not it. There we go. Yeah, so week 4. Got Quack and myself. I'm favored by 2 points, roughly 2 points. I don't know if the lineups are fully matched up, but at the moment, the way that the lineups are set, against Quack, and I'm ahead by 2 points projected. Ken Dog Millionaire in prime time. That's going to be a juicy one again. Prime time is favored by 1 point. That seems to be the smallest differential so far. T Flex and Tebow before hose, a battle of the bottom. Tebow is favored by 9 points. Good hands with Alsop against Biz Ritchie. Good hands is favored by about 9 points as well. Team Ramrod and Nookie Monsters. This is looking like the biggest differential so far, almost 20 points at -19. And Gin and Juice and Handy Nasty, the last matchup, and Handy Nasty is favored in that one almost by 8 points. You know, I dug into this a little bit. I was like really trying to think through what could be potential, upsets of the week there. I didn't want to go as, I was kind of almost go with the storyline of the season and call the Ken Dog first win. And I kind of like it. I just feel like it's a little too easy considering there's only a 1 point differential. And so when we look at some of the bigger differentials, Team Ramrod and Nookie Monsters by 20 points, and Gin and Juice and Handy Nasty, I was really looking into those. And do I have the balls to call a Nookie upset? Well, if Nookie promises to actually set a lineup this week and not start any goose eggs, I think he's got it in him. I'm kind of counting on David Montgomery not playing this week, so he'll have the ability to start Khalil Herbert. And if that pans out, I like it. I'm gonna call the Nookie Monster upset of the week, making up the huge deficit and pulling out a win on this one. I do also like Gin and Juice beating Handy Nasty, though. I have to mention it. Giving Handy Nasty the first loss of the season. I like it. Come on, Gin. Let's do this. Let's give the guy his first loss. I like Gin and Juice in this one as well, even though he is not favored. Looking at the NFL games, I mean, my Dolphins got the Thursday night game. Tua's looking hurt. Honestly, I'm kind of hoping Tua sits. He's kind of been an injury prone guy. I would like to see him sit. We don't need this one. Maybe Teddy can be prepared. It's also a short week. I just overall don't love that after such a brutal game against the Bills. Other cool matchups going on this week. The Eagles, Jaguars. I know we've got some Jags fans in the group. Good hands with us. I like the Jaguars and Eagles matchup. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna pick the Jags, but it's gonna be a fun game. And I also like the Raiders Broncos. I mean, the Broncos have been disappointing as hell. I'm hoping they get it together. But I still hope they lose this one. I'm hoping the Raiders go off. They need their first win of the season. They're the only 0-3 team. It's just been pretty disappointing for McDaniels. Patriots, Packers, Chiefs, Bucks. There's a huge storyline about the quarterbacks there, but I feel like it's going to be a boring game. 49ers Rams is always like a nice, rivalry game. I'm kind of curious about the Jets and Steelers. I'm hoping Zach Wilson comes out. That would be kind of cool to see the guy come back out. Hope he gets that offense going. It could be exciting. And maybe this is the end of Mitchell Trubisky. I wish, I hope. I'd like to see Kenny Pickett back there, and let's see what the guy's got. But yeah, folks, with that, that is all for this week's power rankings and week recap. All right, hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.